If you're watching this video, then you're probably a fan of the Fallout series. While my relationship with the series has been strained in recent years, it's still no doubt one of my favorite game franchises of all time. One of my favorite things to do in the game is level my character and make them the strongest freak in the wasteland. One of the ways you make your character stronger is drugs. I mean perks. Now perks are a little different depending on which of the games you're playing, but they all essentially grant you a new ability upon leveling up. This allows for different builds and playstyles, which in turn leads to more playthroughs, which in turn leads to me having over 1,000 hours in New Vegas. Please send help. Out of all of these perks though, there must be some bad ones, right? I mean, you clicked on the video, obviously you know it's a bad. So what constitutes a bad perk? Just because I don't use a perk doesn't mean it's bad. For example, I don't really do melee builds, but that doesn't mean the big league perk is a bad perk. No, this is a list reserved for the worst of the worst. Perks you'd have to be donkey brain to pick. With all that out of the way, in no particular order, here are some of the worst perks in the series. Here and Now is a pretty simple perk on paper. When you take the perk, you gain one additional level. For example, if you take this perk at level 14, it automatically bumps you up to level 15. Now I know what you're thinking. Hey, this sounds kinda dumb. Well, you're right. See, these games, they're not hard. Us Fallout fans, Fallout boys if you will, we're skilled gamers. We don't need a perk that levels us up, especially if it wastes a slot that we could have put something way cooler in. For example, in New Vegas, you only get a perk every other level. Do you really want to waste it on Here and Now? Explorer is a perk that I don't understand how anyone could pick. The perk reveals every location on the world map that the player hasn't discovered yet. Now this would be useful if we were playing in an actual nuclear apocalypse, but as of the making of this video, we are not. Online, you can easily find every location, how to get there, and even look at the user reviews of the place. If you could fast travel to these places, it wouldn't be as bad, but all it does is mark it on your map. Even for the purists that don't want to go online and use a guide, just explore. Locations get marked on your compass when you get close to them, so they're not exactly hard to find. Not only that, but Explorer becomes available so late in the game, it's ridiculous. If you're playing base game Fallout 3, this is one of the final perks you can take at level 20. You know, to be fair, you need to have a very high IQ to understand Fallout. However, the developers must not agree with this, because they went ahead and added the perk Vans. This perk gives you a green trail leading to your next objective, but only when you use VATS. This is pointless because 1, you can't move while using VATS, and 2, the game already has a very generous waypoint system. Now there are a lot of Vans defenders, and I will give them this, it can make traversing some of the buildings a lot easier. This is far from essential though. The second rank gives you an extra 2 points in perception, but you know what you could have spent your points on instead? Yeah, 2 perception. There's a type of perk in some of the Fallout games that do nothing but boost your skills by a marginal amount. Perks like Daddy's Boy, Gun Nut, and Scoundrel increase your skills by such a small amount that they're borderline useless. Take Gun Nut for example. +5 to small guns and repair is fine I guess, but it's just so boring. Instead of a unique cool perk, these are just lazy stat boosts. Now a perk like Size Matters at least gives you +15, which while not all that exciting, is at least a better value. These perks aren't horrible on paper, but you could go for so much better. Do you love your guns but don't want to waste any of your precious ammo? Then you will love our next perk. Basher is a perk that grants you increased damage when gun bashing. And yes, it's about as useless as it sounds. The perk has a whopping 8 strength requirement, which doesn't work in its favor at all. If your strength is that high, you're probably doing a melee build. On a small chance that you aren't going for a melee build, just shoot them. Now I do enjoy the gun bashing mechanic in Fallout 4, I've used it a lot, but I've never thought to myself, man, I wish this did more damage. Bashing should be a holy shit amount of ammo, leave me alone, please God, please, last resort. Unless you're doing some Mitten Squad style challenge run, you won't find yourself bashing much, and in turn, probably won't be needing this perk. Terrifying Presence is probably one of the most disappointing perks in the franchise. The idea that you can terrify your enemies just from your words alone is awesome, but unfortunately, it's extremely situational. There are only 18 notable times you can use this perk. Now for role-playing, the perk is great. If you're really curious, you could pick it up for a playthrough, but you'll probably never use it again after. Fortune Finder is a perk that allows you to find more bottle caps out in the wasteland. This is actually a somewhat decent perk, but you should never take it in New Vegas. Now in New Vegas, the perk acts the same as it does in all the other games. The only difference is, it's stupid easy to become rich in New Vegas. I promise that no one has ever been short on caps in New Vegas. No one. If you do find yourself short on cash, just be a man and gamble. You know what I have been short on though? Ways to spontaneously combust. Luckily, the perk Nuclear Anomaly has got me covered. When using this perk, you will literally explode whenever your health falls below 20. If this sounds really cool to you, there are some issues you should know about. First, it's bad. Just strictly numbers wise, the damage it deals isn't worth taking the perk at all. It's supposed to do the same damage as a mini nuke, but it seems way more inconsistent. Oh, and I hope you don't like companions, because you will kill them. I mean it, you will nuke everybody that you care about. Also, the range of the explosion is way smaller than it needs to be. If they're not directly on top of you, you will do 0 damage to them. 0. Imagine how stupid you look whenever you're getting shot by a raider, you randomly explode, then run away. If all this wasn't enough, it only activates when you go below 20 HP. Not 20% HP, 20 hit points. That's not a lot at all. That's like 1 shot. No one lets their health drop down that low. And if you do, you're probably gonna die anyways. Okay, there are like way more bad perks than I thought. So it's time for bad Fallout perks. Lightning round time. Go, now. The perk where you poop out a fusion core. Bad. The perk where you swim. Why? Strong back. Just carry less. Idiot savant. The noise scares me. God, don't play that. Bloody mess. I'm just trying to find his key. Where the is his key? Ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, I have saved the worst perk for last. All these perks we've talked about have nothing on this perk. In Shining Armor is the worst perk in the whole franchise, and it's not even close. Looking at the perk, you're probably like, hey, this doesn't look so bad. Well, think again, because it does nothing. Yeah, the perk is bugged. Now, I'm no game developer, so I can't speak for what happened specifically, but apparently some poor sleep-deprived Obsidian dev made a mistake while coding the perk. Don't worry though, Todd Howard reportedly sat him down and had a good talk with him.
What happens if, I don't know, I do this?
So there it is, the worst perks in the Fallout franchise. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know down in the comments. The channel just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing. I never expected it, let alone so fast. I want to thank everybody for sticking around so far, and there's plenty more coming. That's all from me.